Good morning, good morning, good morning, Suburban Prepper. Doing my morning live. Everybody doing good today, I hope. It's sunny and it's going to be in the 80s, and I'm still wearing my winter jacket out of habit. Maybe I'm a little cray-cray. I don't know. I like this jacket. I like that it has pockets. So I debuted my video last night about the cure for everything. And go ahead. Go ahead, sweetheart. And basically, the cure for everything is your brain gut health, brain gut axis, as it were. Yeah, it's a play on words. There's no cure for everything. Everybody knows that. That's why I put an heuristic on top of my title. But it's a good series. I'm going to make more videos about the cure for. It's as I integrate my natural and integrative health in medical primary care. This is an unannounced video. I'm probably the only one watching myself while I drive to work. And that's okay, because who else would be on right now? I gotta sometimes have these awkward moments of silence because I am driving and I have to look around. I am a slow driver. I don't drive aggressively, except when I'm in Chicago. Then I have to turn on the rage. Otherwise, you get stepped on. Other than that, I don't like to drive fast. Chicago, you got to go 90 miles an hour down the road just to keep up with everybody. And I got to go to Chicago again this week for some stuff. That's going to be a lot of fun. I hate driving into Chicago. So much traffic. So yesterday at the Prepper's Garden, I've planted, I think, about 15 slips of sweet potatoes in my Prepper's Garden. And with sweet potatoes, it's a plant it and forget it crop. You don't have to, hell, you don't even have to water it. Really. You just let it get enough rain up here that it doesn't need to be watered. And the way I have it in my Prepper's Garden, like last year, I had a high yield. And now I need to be a little aggressive. A lot of traffic. Yeah, I love it because there's a cop coming up and he likes to pull people over, especially with Illinois plates. Because this is a small town. Anyway, sweet potatoes. Well, my dogs love them, okay? I'm okay with them. Actually, they taste better when I make them versus store-bought. I grew up not liking sweet potatoes because you hear the word potato and you think it's going to take like a potato, but no, it's definitely a root plant. Oh well. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think my next video I'm going to process and make using this cell phone, and hopefully it'll be the last one, is my freeze dry video. I finished freeze drying some carrots, some strawberries, and some pears. That was from the refrigerator. And to my surprise, my daughter always didn't like eating freeze-dried stuff, freeze-dried strawberries, because we would grow strawberries in the backyard and she just could eat them right off, my raised plant beds. This year I'm not growing any strawberries though. Basically, they yield one harvest and you get about that much and that's it. And that's a lot of surface area of it I don't get. If I had a long bed, I would do it. But right now I don't, because strawberries spread like weeds. And it's great if you have a nice long bed to put stuff on. And once it gets implanted in the ground, about a half an inch or so, or an inch, with the little trellis, it's great. But raised beds isn't, to me, it takes too much space and doesn't yield much. At least with beans, they go up like Jack and the Beanstalk. It kept on going up and up and up. Strawberries is right there at surface area. I do, and I have planted carrots and strawberries together because strawberries is such a superficial crop. It doesn't go deep into the soil, and they grow together great. I've had no problems with that. But this year I'm not doing strawberries, and it's a shame. But I want to try other things like ginger. I'm going to try ginger this year. I have an obsession with ginger now. I love the taste of it. I think if I can grow my own, I'd love it even more. I want to make the perfect ginger chew. Okay? And I've tried several times with tapioca flour, some artificial sugar, some natural artificial sugar stuff. And what I do is I get the ginger, I freeze dried it, basically made it into a mulch, and I just added it. And for some reason, I can't get the thickness consistency because obviously I'm adding too much water to the ingredients. And then I tried to freeze dry that chew a little bit, and I over freeze dry it, and then it just becomes freeze dried. I have to throw it away. And two, I need to get some of the fibrous components out of my my ginger somehow when I pulverize it. So maybe I need to put it through a colander of sorts. Only one viewer on here. We're up to 5 a few minutes ago, but okay, whatever. An unannounced video. Maybe I should announce my morning live streams every morning and prepare for that. Anyway, on to other things. I was editing my video yesterday about the cure for everything, and I have 1 to 2 to 3 second pauses where I'm processing the information I'm going to say. And when you're making a video, you can't have those awkward moments of silence, I've learned, because it just turns viewers off. They want boom, 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 boom. Of course, I can edit that out, but I'm just standing there or sitting there like Brad Pitt or something. So, and then of course I got to cut back on saying so much. Instead of saying so, I think I'm going to just say, ladies and gentlemen. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So, here we go again. A little bit about my channel, if you're new to my YouTube channel. And I know there's a lot of new viewers because I've had a couple thousand people join over the past few months since I started making more videos. I'm a prepper. I like to prepare for emergencies. It's more of a lifestyle than it is a state of paranoia, but there is a degree of paranoia. I started out as a prepper. I can tell you the day, uh, February 10th, 1992, because I was in SEER school at Fort Bragg, Camp McCall, or Camp Rowe, whatever you want to call it, which was survival school, evasion, resistance, and escape. And then that opened my eyes and made me realize I always got to be prepared for the unknown. In my unit that I was in, survival was a big thing. So we did a lot of BushCraft skills, escape and evasion skills, and basic patrolling stuff. For a special operations aviation unit, I was a paratrooper and a flight medic. So we did stuff in the air, stuff on the ground missions, and so forth. And that's where I became a prepper. And I didn't realize it. I didn't have a name to it, but I would always think about being prepared for whatever. And maybe that is a little paranoia on my part, because I don't like living in buildings that elevators are the primary means of escape, or stairs are the only primary means of escape. So I just think about things, maybe a little too much. Anyway, back to my channel, ladies and gentlemen. So I like to prepare different ways. The big thing is through physical medical health. I'm a medical provider. Of course, I started out as a medic, so I transitioned to become a nurse and then a nurse practitioner, but it's still all together. So I went from an Army Paratrooper Flight Medic to an RN, Med-Surg ICU, a little ER time, and there goes my drink, to the primary care nurse practitioner. And I've worked some urgent care. Anyway, so I have a medical background. Some people say, well, you're not medical, you're nursing. No, you prescribe medication, you're held to the same standard as an MD or DO or PA, you're medical. And you are held to the same standard, let me assure you, ladies and gentlemen. So the medical side. And then I also do integrative natural medicine. I did a fellowship, many of you may know, through George Washington University. And that opened my eyes to the integrative part of healthcare, combining both naturopathic and allopathic for optimal health. That's why my latest video was about the brain-gut axis. Axis. It's a hard word for me to say. Axis. So, ladies and gentlemen, the other component of my prepping journey is gardening. I call it the prepper's garden. And you'll see me make comments about my prepper's garden. And that's a throwback to when I was in SEER school at Bragg or McCall or Rowe. It was McCall or Rowe. I don't remember the name. They changed the name at some point. And I don't know what the current name is. But I know it's still called Fort Bragg now, even though it's named after somebody named Bragg and not the general from the Civil War. But whatever. But I digress, ladies and gentlemen. When I was in SEER school, they had the People's Garden. And it was a strip of land out in the field where we were doing our survival training. And I had to till the land, the People's Garden land, with my hands in the middle of February. And then they gave us some shovels to do it, but they were afraid that we were going to attack our captors. So we were under arms, tilling the land, frozen land. It's still February, North Carolina, the land is pretty hard and cold. But we tilled it, so it always stuck with me, the People's Garden at SEER School. If any of my 160th or SF guys that went through there know what I'm talking about, and I think you do. So, your gardening, backyard gardening, I think that's paramount to prepping. You know, if you have the means, garden something, experiment with your garden, see what grows and what doesn't grow. I see my garden as a bed to experiment with different foodstuffs. Sometimes I utterly fail, like I can't grow garlic to save my life. I don't think that my ground or my soil is rocky enough, but it's a raised bed, and I don't I don't have rocky soil. I think that's the issue, why my garlic always fails. But everything else pretty much grows there except garlic. I don't know what I do wrong. Onions grow great. Hot peppers can grow. I've had sweet peppers grow, but I can't get garlic for the life of me to grow. And that just bugs me. And I don't know if it's because I had the wrong type of garlic. There's a northern garlic and a southern garlic. And it frustrates me. In addition to the gardening aspect of it, I did try to make a greenhouse in the basement of my house. I had two greenhouses, basically, and I tried to alter the environment in the greenhouses in my basement to grow stuff. Problem is, my back went out on me, and it's too humid, and the flies in the soil were too much. It was a failed project. So I experiment with different aspects of gardening. Now, I could have easily set up one of my greenhouses outside and started my growing season early, but I chose not to. Usually I start my garden, I start planting actually in 2 weeks from now. So I'm planting a lot earlier now. I usually start Memorial Day weekend is when I start planting my plants. So to me, I'm growing a little early. I'm worried about frost. Okay. But the forecast doesn't predict any more frost. So that's the other part of my prepping strategy. Now there's bushcraft skills that are a component of prepping. I know how to tell time. I know how to tell location from looking at the sun. I don't need to do that, but it's hard for me to explain how to do it because I sound stupid. And I'm called Suburban Prepper. Suburban meaning, you can look at the road. Most roads go north, east, south, west, unless it's a circle. Like in Indianapolis, there's a big circle that goes around the town, 465, as it were, ladies and gentlemen. So that circle goes round, round like a record player. Other roads go north, south, east, and west. And you can figure out where you are just by looking at the roads. Hey. But yeah, you got to have a lot of those bushcraft skills I learned in the military, and I added to my own. A lot of the knot and rope tying classes. We would practice rope tying classes when we were out in the field. We would patrol at night, and then during the day we would sleep and do training. And while training at night was patrolling. And I used to sound like they used to tell me I sounded like an elephant. So I've learned how to slow down or quiet patrolling signature to be more quiet, so I didn't sound like an elephant. A guy named Sergeant Flynn mentioned that to me once, that I was just too loud, and I learned how to be more silent in my patrolling. No more clinkety, 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 if you know what I'm saying. And I think you do. So I'm on an intersection here where these people are just so aggressive because they're Illinois drivers. They think that if they don't cut you off, it's because you deserved it for that split second. I don't like Illinois drivers. They're too aggressive. And this is Indiana, okay? So let me digress, ladies and gentlemen. Go back to what we're talking about, what makes my prepping channel, and different. So I talk about gardening, talk about bushcraft skills. I do want to make a video this year about using a Fresnel lens with the sun and starting a fire in my little fire pit or my smoker. I like to just put my make a fire in my smoker and go from there. It's fun. It's controlled. Another bushcraft skill that I like to do is make my own carbon. You know, I take some wood and put it in and I cook it, but without any oxygen, so it becomes charcoal. That to me is a good prepper skill to have. And with that charcoal, you can make sure it's a wood that doesn't hurt when you, it's something that you don't want to make charcoal out of something that's an irritant. Okay. But I've got a bunch of wood hanging around my backyard that I can make charcoal out of it. And I can either use it as charcoal or I can turn it into activated charcoal. And activated charcoal has a higher absorption rate of toxins and anything that it basically absorbs plastics, miniature it binds, things bind to it. I'll do another video on how to make it at home. You can use bleach, you can use lemon. You just need a heat source. Some people don't use a heat source. The only problem that I have is you have to filter it, okay? Because and you filter it with pure sand. But I don't make I'll make a video about it again. I think it's time to make a video about activated charcoal. So I have a couple of bags of activated charcoal that I keep. And yeah, you can use it for poisoning, to absorb poison. That's activated charcoal. That's what it's called. Ipecac syrup is the stuff that you take to throw up. Okay, let's not confuse the two, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm at the intersection of where I have to turn to get on the intersection of where I need to be. And then some of these people, I like to drive right into them, but I wouldn't do that. Illinois drivers drive me crazy. Get off the phone, bitch. I hate that. I'm sorry. Hell, I mean, I'm on the phone, but I'm on hands-free. I'm just basically talking to myself like a psychotic. Okay? I don't like the word crazy, though. Anyway, back to my channel. As I digress again, ladies and gentlemen. Back to my channel. So what makes Suburban Prepper unique amongst other prepper channels is the bushcraft skills. Okay. In addition to the bushcraft skills, water conservation. Okay. Now, living in the suburbs, a lot of people waste their time and money with swimming pools. But guess what, ladies and gentlemen? That's a source of water. If shit hit the fan, you've got a source of water right there. And you could take bleached water, air it out, and it's clean, and you run it through your system, and it's potable, meaning you can drink it. Of course, you got rain. I have water collection systems from my roof. I don't have the means to dig a well. I have to look. It's around here. This is all marsh. Okay, so you don't really have to dig too deep in Northwest Indiana because originally it was all marsh. You can look at it, look at nature, and see. Okay, yeah, this is all slush. So the water, the bed line, the waterbed surface area down, it's not too deep. Plus, there's Lake Michigan, and things permeate into the land. And there's plenty of water around here, but it's not like I live in Nevada or Arizona, where I would never want to live in an area where I couldn't just get access to water without having to get it. Because let's face it, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, here's another Jeep. Hi. You got to say it like that when you're talking to like bunny ears. It's a cheap thing, I guess. I have a Jeep Gladiator, ladies and gentlemen, which is a Jeep and a truck. So I get the best of both worlds. It's not a heavy-duty pickup truck. Okay, it's like a Chevy S10, but it's a lot cooler looking. The bed can hold 2,000 pounds stuff. And I remind people that you have to really not go over the limits of the bed. I don't want to damage the truck. Again, I digress. About my prepper channel. So water. And then the other component, since we're talking about things that we put in our mouths, is food. I like to do freeze dry videos. I have a Harvest Right freeze dryer. And I've freeze dried at this point in my life hundreds of times now. I can't say thousands of times because that would be, I could have done it thousands of times by now, but it takes a couple of days to freeze dry some stuff. So mathematically, it's not possible to say I've done it thousands of times. I just finished freeze drying, like I said, some carrots, pears, and some store strawberries, and I'm going to post that video. That's my other component of prepping. And then I have a solar oven. You take this solar oven, you put it outside in the sun. Okay, you let it warm up a little bit. Open it up. You get some food that you want to cook, and you cook it in the solar oven, and it cooks it. To me, the hard thing to make is rice. So I'll do another video this year too. What the hell? Cooking rice is hard. If you can make rice with something, you can make anything with anything. And it cooked the rice good. Had some water. I put some rice, and it became fluffy rice. Not to be confused with these other type of cookers that are parabolic, something, where you get the light and it hits the pan and it cooks. Those don't cook as well as my solar oven cooker. All right, so we digress. We're going to quit talking about the foodstuffs, and we're going to talk about skills and tech. I believe, as a solar enthusiast, that solar panels and batteries, solar generators are a component to prepping as a power source. It tires me when I go on the social media sites and People talk about, well, how am I going to get electricity and shit hits the fan? I won't have anything. Well, I mean, the technology's out there where if the sun somehow goes away, we're all going to die in 8 minutes anyway. So if the sun's there, you can get solar power to operate your essential gear. So I do a lot of solar videos, solar panels. I talk about them. I have them in my house. I have battery backup. Over and versus having a fuel backup, a fuel generator backup, which I don't have. Of course, I have a small 5,000 watt handheld portable battery operated generator that I can use for a backup. But the great thing about solar panels is nobody knows that you're using it. It's quiet. Don't attract attention. Of course, and nobody thinks to look up at your roof anymore because to see if you have solar panels. They don't even notice that. I thought people would. They're like, what? I don't know. People are not very observant these days, I've noticed. But let me digress. So I have several different portable solar panels. I'm finishing doing a video where I'm finishing making, well, let's just be honest. I'm starting to make my video on my 2,000 watt solar generator home build, but I want to wait till I get my new camera in, and I want to do the video with that and check the video quality versus having to use my cell phone to make videos, because the quality on the noise on the cell phone is quite less. Well, I want to compare the videos, so I'm going to hold off on doing that till I learn how to use this new vlogger live feed video phone camera thing. It's not a phone. The technology's out there. I just got to learn how to use it. And obviously, I'm a prepper that does YouTube videos. That's a component of my prepping. So I talk about it, okay? And I don't talk about just successes, because my name's not Jesus Christ. I'm just a regular guy. And I fail. I fail a lot. It's important to talk about your failures because you learn from them. And others can learn from your failures too. So yeah, back to what I'm talking about. Let me digress. Other components, the technical components, is I like to do videos about drones. Now, some people think drones are bad. I think they're a great technology. Instead of having to send a team out to do a recon of an area 2 miles away, you can send a drone 300 feet in the air. You can't hear it. You can't see the drone 300 feet in the air. And you can do a recon of an area, bring the drone back, and you can watch it as you're doing the recon, aerial reconnaissance, and gather the information that you need. That's more tactical prepping for those that are so inclined. Doesn't make it any less so. And we're going to turn. One of my goals this year, and I don't know if I'm going to make it, but I'm going to hope, is to get my Part 107 drone license and get an exemption so I can fly the drone at night. A thermal drone, which I don't own. I own a regular colored drone. Well, colored. I own a regular drone you can fly during the daytime. It's under 250 grams, so you don't need a license for it or anything. But I want to get my Part 107. Okay, back to the tech aspects of prepping. Radios. I'm a big radio guy, okay? I like radios. They're good. Radios are good. I have a Uniden STS 100 police scanner in cold storage I have a home station ham radio. I have a couple portable ham radios. I have some GMRS radios and some FERS radios. But I want to also get my ham license. I've been studying for that a little bit. And GMRS, you need to pay 10, 15 bucks just to operate at a family license. I tried ordering it once, but their website's so complicated. It's like I'm the old guy that doesn't know how to operate on a website now. It's pathetic. So let me digress. So radios is an important component. Other aspects of prepping are defensive measures. Okay, like sidearms, long guns, and bow and arrows. Okay, I have a bow and I have an arrow. I have several bows and I have several arrows. Not that great at it. It's a learned skill. My arrows are 40 pounds per square inch. I'm not a pistol guy, more so than I am a long gun guy. But I digress. To me, shooting's not about shooting a pistol. It's about shooting a rifle. Obviously, my gun of choice has always been a 9mm Beretta, but I actually own a nice Turkish 9mm. I tried it with the red dot, and I actually just like shooting the iron sights. To me, it's a lot easier. The red dot, sometimes I can't even see it. My long guns, I like bolt-action rifles and semi-automatic rifles. And I have one shotgun. I'm not a big shotgun guy. It's not my thing. So, and I inherited the shotgun. And we got a train moving slow, and that's okay. So this is where the train this is where the guys, and I might be late for work now. That's okay. And I think we're gonna do a U-turn here because that's one of the trains that goes like across the United States. So if there's a delay in that train, it's going to be a long stop for a couple hours. I have to take another route. I could just follow that, go next to the train track, pick up the road, but that's not legal, I don't think. I've done this a few times. And that's going to be there for at least another hour. Hopefully it's going west. So if I could pick up something, I should have taken that road. I'll pick up something going that way, and I will overrun the train so I can get to work. But I digress, ladies and gentlemen. Back to my prepping videos and being a prepper and stuff. I'm in the town now of Chicago Heights where I work at. Now I just got to get to work. Awkward moment of silence there, huh? Oh yeah, I like to make those kind of videos stuff. And I like to shoot too. My favorite caliber is still 223,556. Okay. I am doing, I'm getting a 300 Win Mag semi-automatic upper that will attach to a AR-10 lower, and I need to get a separate AR-10 lower. I don't want to mix my 308 upper with the 300 Win Mag upper and just have one lower. So I'm going to have to get a AR-10 lower. And you can get them. You have to get it sent to a gun dealer because that's a controlled item, and you need to do the National Gun Control Check Act thing to make sure you're not, a bad guy. That's okay. That's the rules. I don't like it. Do you need to do a background check to vote? No, you don't, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully, I can bypass that train here at this turn. Yeah, I think I will make it. Anyway, I digress. I like shooting suppressed. I have a 50 cal. Now that's my funnest rifle to shoot. It's not the most practical rifle, but it's the funnest one. And I got a nice suppressor for it. And I got a gun range that I can go to and shoot it now. It's hard finding places where you can shoot it. So this is the railroad track that I was slow. I passed it. So we're good to go there. But now I'm completely on the other side of town where I need to be. And I digress, ladies and gentlemen. That's okay. So the shooting skills, that's the other component of my prepping. And that's, I don't know. I don't know what else to say, really. What other components do I have to my prepping niche? Or niche? I think that's it, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I can't do something I don't do. But I will tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I believe in homesteading at the communal level when you live in the suburbs. It's impossible for me as a suburban prepper to say I have a homestead, okay, because I don't. But what you can do is create a mutual assistance group with other like-minded individuals and make a self-sustaining community as much as possible, okay? Much like homesteading, they're not completely independent of themselves for everything. It's society still exists. Even in SHTF, you're going to have people that are going to need things, and you're going to need things, and you're going to have to work together and do things. And this road is closed. That's okay, ladies and gentlemen. I can turn on red, but I can't see. These Illinois drivers, they are cutthroat. He's not even looking. I'll make it work on time. It's fine. I hate being late for things. All because of a train. But anyway, back to communal homesteading. It's not being communist. Okay, it's not communism. It's communal. It's prepping as a community. It's a theory. Okay, it's a homestead. It's a mutual assistance group. That's what communal prepping is. I believe in that. But you have to find like-minded people that you can tolerate and work with them. And so you might have someone that knows how to plant garlic if you can't plant any. On the other hand, you might have someone that knows a lot about plumbing. Well, you're useless at plumbing, but you know how to suture wounds properly. So you work as a community. And it's good to have folks that are pretty active and doing what they do, instead of folks that just like to talk about things. Technical. And it's good to have someone that can do hacking stuff on a computer. Okay. So let's face it, we are computer people now. That's still a skill. All right. Well, I think I'm going to end the stream here in a few minutes. I think I'm going to have a morning talk, a morning drive time talk, much like a talk radio show, because I have to build and develop my live stream talking capability. And at most, I'm going to have 5 or 10 viewers. And I can't read comments while I'm driving, but it's what it is. And I think I have to not wear my jacket anymore because I'm starting to get a little sweaty. But damn, I love wearing this jacket. So, and I don't want to, do that. Prepping that you like to get into that I haven't covered, or maybe I forget to cover something because I have brain farts, brain fog from brain gut access issues. Really watch that video. I put a lot of effort into brainstorming the ideas that I came up with. And there's years of training that to make it what it is. I'm not making any of this stuff up. I mean, it's all out there. Some of it's my opinion. But yeah, check out my video about the title of the video is The Cure for Everything, asterisk. And really, gut health is everything. You ever feel constipated? Yeah. All right, I think we're going to call it a day. I got to find out where the turn off button is. Oh, it's end stream. Okay. This is Suburban Prepper. Have a good day, everyone out.